As fans of horror movies, we love to be shocked. That includes being surprised of a crazy twist. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the SlasherTalk Podcast. I hope you have all had a great week. You all are doing well. Do you want to hear about my week? My week has been crazy. I don't know if you've seen my social media over the past, I posted it Thursday, Friday. I don't know. The last 3 to 4 days. Holy shit. I love the internet. I love the internet with my entire heart. I love it. I think it is one of the best things that we have that has been invented, that has been created, that has been given to us as a society. But oh my God, is it also the worst? And it is such a toxic place. It can be such a toxic place. Why I decided to make the internet my job, I will never know. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment because, man, this month, to be honest, Scary Movie 6, all the death threats were crazy about me not liking Scary Movie 6. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry that I didn't like it. I'm sorry that the movie just fucking sucks. It's not funny. Obviously, my opinion, if you enjoyed it, I love that for you. I went into the movie wanting to laugh and have a good time. If you had that experience, great. I'm jealous. But I didn't. I shouldn't have 30 people online telling me to go kill myself over Scary Movie 6. I digress. Let's talk about Leviticus. Oh my God. I knew there was going to be a few comments, maybe more than a few comments of people that clearly just do not agree with the gay lifestyle, the gay experience, LGBTQ. I get that. Yeah, I'm not ignorant to the fact that we still live in a world where people like this exist and they're out there. But oh my God, brother, it is. I just posted a review. This is the simplest just way that I can put this. I had a woman on Facebook, and she was like, "This is so unfortunate. I used to love this page, but if you're going to promote this kind of film, I'm going to have to unfollow." And I'm like, you're shocked that a horror movie page is talking about the most recent horror movie that was released in theaters? Of course, I'm going to be talking about it. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean? Yes, it happens to be, the movie happens to have two characters that are gay. Yeah, I don't know. I was like dumbfounded. I was like, what do you mean? I understand that this doesn't align with your values, your views, your religion, your politics, whatever. I understand there are so many people out there that were raised a certain way through religion or whatever, and you don't agree with it. That's fine. Like, have your views, whatever. We live in the US. Just don't be a fucking hateful dickhead. Like, and I'm so sorry that I'm saying this out in context of the message that I received. I am a straight man, okay? And the amount of slurs that I was called and the amount of hate comments and stuff that I got in my public comment sections, my DMs, if this is what I went through and the stuff that was said to me as a straight man, I can't imagine what individuals go through on a daily basis that present themselves as a part of the LGBTQ. But like the pure hatred behind a lot of the comments that I saw over the weekend, a lot of them were directed not towards me, but a lot of them were. And the second time in less than a month, where I'm just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? No fucking wonder. Like, it's just, I know that, and I'm not going to get into, politics, religion, none of that. No one cares to hear what I think about all of that. I think I have made several comments about how I am not a religious person through my short form videos and things that I've, made, and some things that maybe I've said on this podcast. I think it is probably pretty clear where I side and align myself. But that's not what you are here to listen to. This is a horror movie podcast. And that's all I was doing Friday, was I was talking about a horror movie called Leviticus, which I thought was a very powerful film. And I said it in my short form video that I remember seeing it back at South by Southwest. And even though I connected to this movie in a way as just a baseline human, that we are all wired to want to feel love, to receive love, to be loved, to give love. And at the end of the day, that's what this movie is about. It's just love. And love conquers all. At the end of the day, choose love. Like that's the simplest baseline explanation of this film. So to that degree, I connect to Leviticus, but there is so much of this movie that I will never fully connect to in a way that somebody that is queer, part of the LGBTQ community. And I was at South by Southwest, and I just happened to be surrounded by queer friends, other queer content creators, and things. And after we got done seeing the film, it was so difficult to deny the impact that this movie had on each and every single one of them. To see the tears in their eyes, to see the emotion in their eyes and in their voice, and how passionately they were talking about how much they loved this movie and how much it moved them, it impacted them, how much this movie made them feel seen. And even though Leviticus might be a bit of, I don't even want to say the word exaggeration, because it's not. Based on my comments, it's not an exaggeration whatsoever. But even though Leviticus might be like, here's these two teenage boys that have figured out they are gay and they are trying to, build this relationship, but they live in this very small, religious based, to me, very extreme religious-based town. They're having to hide in this mill and share some, intimacy with each other, and they have to be careful about being out in public because of who lives in their town. And they're put through this, like, what would be considered, like, a version of conversion therapy. Obviously, conversion therapy isn't attaching a demon in real life, but, like, things about this movie might be exaggerated, but at the end of the day, the real horror to me, yes, there are some, like, dread moments and, tense moments and some, horror moments in this film that I very much consider it to be a part of the horror genre. But the horror to me is the in real life aspects of this film, and I saw it happening in real time over this weekend, and it just makes me so incredibly sad because the hate that I received over the weekend about me just posting about this movie, quote unquote, promoting this film, which I did say, please go see it. Um, the amount of hatred that I got this weekend, I can't even imagine what people go through on a day-to-day basis, and Leviticus does show the day-to-day. As you leave your house, you have to basically assess risk, and that's why they are hiding in this mill, hanging out together and, things like I don't leave my house every day thinking, when I first got tattoos and I started, wearing a bunch more horror shirts and things, I get little looks here and there, but, like, I don't give a fuck. But, like, seeing the just taking the feelings about that so minuscule things that don't matter, my tattoos, my horror shirts and stuff, and just seeing all of the comments and things that I got over the weekend and just kinda putting it in somebody else's world and go, "I cannot believe that you have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis," probably times 10. It's insane. It's insane, and I hate it. All I was doing was reviewing the newest horror movie that was released. It's God, people are fucking wild. Anyway, with that said, I hope you all had a chance to go see Leviticus this weekend. I thought it was fantastic. Very powerful film, very emotional film. I did not see how well it's doing at the box office. I did see a lot of things or a lot of comments from people saying that they didn't even know the movie existed. Like, marketing for the film wasn't as amped up as Neon's films usually are, but then I also saw, um, a comment saying, "I chose not to see this movie just because of all the fucking ads that I saw." So, I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, what a fucking weekend. It is woo! Let me tell you. Um, just from a content creator standpoint, we haven't really talked about content creator stuff on the podcast for a while because I don't know how many people actually listen to the podcast that are content creators. Um, but man, it is this is a perfect month for me personally to show somebody the stark contrast of what it's like to be a content creator, you know, with any sort of platform. This month will probably end up being one of, if not the best month that I've had so far, monetization-wise, which is great. That's fantastic. On the other side of the token, holy fuck, has this month been a mental disaster. Like, I'm handling it very well. If this would have happened, if stuff like this would have happened to me when I first started posting content, I probably would have crashed. For sure. And unfortunately, that's just part of the whole content creation journey and like putting yourself out on the internet every day of your life. Um, is that things like this are going to happen. But what's sad is that you just kind of like it's inevitable and it does happen, and you just have to learn to build a thick skin and just fucking take it, because a lot of these things I can't even clap back to because I will get reported and then I will lose my fucking channel. Um, so it's just one of those where it's like, oh, I want to go viral. I want all these views and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes going viral is probably one of the worst things that can happen to you. Yes, from a monetization standpoint, rake it in. Get that engagement and put some money back in savings. Hell yeah, because everything is a roller coaster. This month might be one of the best months that you've ever had. The next month could be one of the worst. But it's just crazy how this month was fantastic, but also one of the worst. Just simply because of the internet and what people decide to say to strangers behind a keyboard, behind a screen. I have never received this many death threats, go kill yourself, the amount of just hate speech comments and slurs and the amount of DMs and things. I'm just kind of like, brother, I just like stopped looking at messages, period. So if you're waiting for a message back from me over the last 3 to 4 days or 5 days or whatever, I haven't been looking. So, um, but that's just part of it, huh? Which sucks to kind of like get to that conclusion, to get to the part of the journey where it's just like, yeah, you're gonna get shit on, you're gonna get hate, you're gonna get told to go kill yourself or you should die or and just get all this like hate speech and things, and you're just supposed to fucking take it across the chin. It's engagement, right? And thankfully, I have worked on my mental health. My mental health is nowhere near where it used to be, do not get me wrong. But I've, like, if this would have been which, to be fair, I would not have been posting myself on the internet 6, 7 years ago when I was at my absolute lowest. I was in my bed upset that I saw the sun rise. So I wasn't posting myself on the internet, but posting myself on the internet at some point in my journey was very healing, and it helped me we went through this in my first episode. Like, it gave me something to do. It gave me a purpose to get out of bed and things. So I know if I was in that position trying to heal and grow and take a positive steps forward in doing something like this, and what happened to me this month happened during that time, who knows? Like, people just don't consider that. And I know that's just part of the internet. And people say, well, if you don't want to deal with it, get off the internet. I just think that it just sucks that it's like that. yes, it's strangers behind a keyboard, behind a screen. Uh, but man, you just say the right hateful thing to a person at the right/wrong time, and you could just do so much damage. So I don't know. It sucks. And I very much dislike this part of the job, which I hate calling it a job. Well, I love calling it a job, but then it just comes off so disingenuous. This is my job, so I have to. Well, no, like I post these things because I just want to talk about them with the community that I've built. So to receive that kind of thing back from, and I don't necessarily consider the people that are giving me that hatred like a strong piece of my community, because they're not. They might follow the page, but clearly you might watch my videos and you might consume my content for recommendations or whatever, but you're not listening to all of my content. I don't know. Yeah, dude. It's just weird. I'm sure if content creators are listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Which unfortunately, been there, done that sort of thing. Pick your head up, king, and just move on forward. Which, yeah, but damn, um, I can't lie that there are some days where it's just kind of like, okay, I got to shut everything off and I just have to go do something else. And that's just part of it. And I hate that that's part of it, but that's just the way it is. So, whatever. But yeah, long rant short. Go see Leviticus if you haven't seen it. Hooray! Anyway, guys, I haven't watched anything. I I am It's bad. It's so bad. I haven't watched anything. Woo. I go to Rhode Island this week to go hang out with Sydney and Gigi and June. Eli and Destiny were supposed to go, but I don't know if they get to now. Probably not. They're dealing with their fucking house, which sucks, but we're gonna go celebrate some birthdays and do all that. So when I get back from Rhode Island this weekend, I get back Saturday, I need to just lock the fuck in and watch movies. There are so many movies I was just on Shudder looking to see if something was playing. The coffee table was still on Shudder. And there are 6 movies on there that I'm kind of like, oh fuck, I haven't seen these yet. I need to lock in, guys. Lock in. I did see Leviticus. I did go see The Furious. But I didn't speak about it on the channel because it's not necessarily a horror movie. Great action. That movie's like 2 hours long, maybe. Hour 45, something like that. Closer to 2 hours. An hour and a half of that movie is just straight action. Just straight martial arts action. It's crazy. Some of it's pretty brutal, but just the action fight sequences were insane. I do think it is flawed here and there, because it focuses on the action so much. But holy shit, if you love just to sit down, shut your brain off, and watch some martial arts actions type of movie, The Furious is for you, man. It is so much fun, especially in a theater. Oh yeah. So I have seen some things. I did see Hungry, which I will be able to post about this week. So keep an eye out for that. Well, this is being posted on Friday, so you've already seen my review. Hopefully, you've already seen my review for Hungry. I did see Hungry, Leviticus, The Furious. I was gonna go to The Death of Robin Hood and Toy Story 5 this weekend, but I did not. I chose to do other things, like pre-record content for this upcoming week. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I can't really speak on a whole lot about movies that I've watched. So there's that. But this week I did want to talk about something that I think all horror movie fans love. And it is a good twist in a horror movie. I'm going to bring up some twists on this list that are very controversial. Some people hate these twists, but this might be a shorter episode this week because I'm not going to dive into these. Well, I always say that and then I fucking ramble for an hour and a half, so we'll see. But if this ends up being shorter, it's because I just kind of went through these. I'm not going to lie, guys. My brain is just like fried. Anyway, best twist in a horror movie. I started a short form video about this week that I will post this week. And I think that there are always horror films that instantly get thought about when you say best twist in a horror movie, go. Personally, I always hear people talk about Saw, The Others, Sixth Sense, which I think are all fantastic choices. Now, I will be kind of getting into spoilers. I don't necessarily know how to warn people in this kind of setting. I will try to do that. There will be spoilers, so hopefully I don't spoil something for you that you haven't seen. But I think most of these movies, I feel like a lot of horror fans have seen all of these. But just in case, because you never know. I think Saw, I will never forget watching Saw for the first time. I've told this story before. I don't know if it was on short form or in a podcast setting, because we are 23 episodes. This is number 23. I don't remember everything that I've said last week, let alone beginning of January. But I will never forget watching Saw for the first time. I was with my high school girlfriend at the time. We were at one of our mutual friends' house, kind of like out in the country, out in the wilderness. We were doing like, they're just hanging out. We were doing like, like paintball and, things like that. But we took an afternoon or whatever, and we watched Saw. And I'm the kind of person, I get DMs and messages and comments all the time. Oh, I want to watch a horror movie with you so bad. It would be so cool to watch a horror movie. I don't think you would. I really don't think you would enjoy that because I am so locked the fuck in. Especially when I haven't seen one, I am the worst. I'm jumping stories here. High school, Rob Zombie's Halloween came out. I was so excited. I took the night off work, all this shit, got to the theater, watched it with like 4 or 5, I can't remember, like 4 or 5 of my high school friends, and we're sitting down, the movie starts, we get 15 minutes or so into the movie, and they will not stop talking. They're just doing the annoying teenager thing. They're cracking jokes, they're talking amongst each other, all this kinda shit. When I tell you, I got up and I moved seats. And my best friend who I live with currently, Sean, he was like, "Oh, we're moving seats?" I said, "I'm moving seats. You stay the fuck right there. You guys are loud and annoying. I'm trying to watch the fucking movie. Shut up. I have waited for this movie and y'all are ruining it." I'm such a diva, dude. Anyway, fast forward, Saw. We're watching Saw, and I'm locked in, and what I say this because I feel like any other high school boy would have done the exact opposite, but I am so locked in to Saw. My, girlfriend, at the time, she's like, you know, getting up real close to me and doing, like, little nudges and holding my hand and just doing, like, little, like, real flirtatious, kind of things, and I could give a fuck less, dude. I'm locked in. Especially at the end of the movie when everything is revealed and how everything is connected, and I was so zoned in. I don't think that she even watched the movie. She was just so pissed off at me that I wasn't really paying attention to her. But I just remember, "Are you seeing this? This whole thing, everything is connected, and then it happens. And then it happened." And spoiler, I'm sure we've all seen Saw. Spoiler for the very end of Saw. When Jigsaw stood up from the floor, I could not have been more shocked, locked in, jaw was on the floor. I use that term a lot. I noticed this weekend I used the term jaw on the floor a lot, but I'm being so fucking for real. When he stood up and he's like, "The key to that lock is in the bathtub." No, it's not, because the very first shot we saw in the film was it going down the fucking drain. Sucks to suck. Game over. I, brother, I was that moment in time will forever be ingrained in my brain, and that is when I will watch every single Saw movie that they decide to put out. Did I think that we would be up to, like, 11? No. But in that moment, I was like, "I cannot wait for whatever is next. This is crazy." Like, I love the ending to Saw so much, and a lot of people, and I will say this about several of these films, but last time I talked about the Saw ending, uh, I got a lot of comments saying, "Oh, I knew that was coming." How? How? Again, I was in high school, and I hadn't really seen a movie set up in a way of, like, to, like, have a twist like that. So, it might have been my age. I'm sure if I saw something like that with the amount of horror movies and with the amount of horror movies and the amount of movies, period, that I've seen now at almost 37 years old, yes, I am sure I probably would have clocked, "Hey, that guy right there is probably not dead." But I thought they hit it pretty well. But just anyway, I always hear, "Oh, I saw that coming from a mile away." I go, "No, no, 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 you didn't." Another one that I get that same comment on is The Sixth Sense. Again, I was probably 10 years old when this movie came out. Um, so I saw it early in my movie watching journey. I did not see the twist to The Sixth Sense coming whatsoever. Obviously, you watch it a second time and you go, huh, ah, it was there the entire time. How stupid of me. Uh, Spoiler, obviously, Bruce Willis has been dead the entire time. That blew my mind. That movie came out in 99. I think I saw over the weekend, it was 99. I would have been 10 years old. I imagine I did not watch it at 10 years old. But I remember still watching it like early teens, maybe. And back in that time, we didn't have MySpace, Facebook. I just said MySpace. Whoa. We didn't have fucking, you know, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, where immediately when a movie, comes out, if you don't see it the first showing on opening day, well, you pop in your social media and there's the big spoiler. He was dead the entire time. So like you could go a long time without seeing a movie and not be spoiled because it wasn't so readily available to be spoiled. I don't know if that sentence made sense. Anyway, whatever. So that's another one that for me personally, when I hear someone go, "Oh yeah, I called that he was dead from the beginning." What? What? Maybe. Like I said, quite possibly it just was my young age, my inexperience with those sorts of things. Maybe if I would watched it with this many years of experience watching films at 37 years old, I would have clocked that he was dead the entire time as well. I don't know. That wasn't my lived experience. I just find it really hard to believe that one. You, you called it? Really? If you did, good for you, because geez, I did not. But I was like 12. The others. Since we're gonna start off with those three, the others, there's not a lot, which is why I have all of these movies on here as best twist in a horror movie because I did not see these coming, right? So just assume I don't want to. I catch myself saying that all the time. My jaw was on the floor. I never saw it coming. Just assume all of these. I didn't see the twist coming because if I saw the twist coming, probably isn't going to be on best twist in a horror movie list, at least mine. So, the others. Guess what? Didn't see it coming. I haven't seen the others in years. I need to rewatch it. I love haunted, spooky, dark house vibes, candlelight, paranormal ghost vibes. I love that shit. And to find out, spoiler for the others, see, I'm getting good at that. I don't know how this really helps you because there's no timestamp or whatever. But anyway, to find out that that mother and her two kids were dead, and they were, in fact, the ghosts in the house the entire time. Mind blown. I I love that kind of shit. I love that kind of shit. There's a movie I want to talk about right now because I was just getting ready to say I think that there is um, the feeling of, like, it's very tropey. It kinda is in that trope of, like, "It was all just a dream. It all happened in their head." But I don't think the others it might be close to, like, "Oh, they've been dead the entire time." I think, I don't think that's this but I guess I could see maybe why that is close to that trope, but I don't think it's necessarily that. So I don't think it's a cop out. I don't think it's lazy writing or whatever. I just think it's a great fucking setup and twist. I loved it. I'm gonna rewatch the others when I get back from hanging out in Rhode Island. And you all have to keep me like keep me accountable. I've been going to the gym for 3.5 weeks. I've been walking 5 miles a day, going to the gym. Um, I'm holding myself accountable in that vibe. I can't do it with this too. So I'm gonna need some help. Okay. If you don't see a video or something from me talking about how I rewatched the others in like 2 weeks, yell at me, please. But the movie I wanted to talk about is Identity. And that one I think is more close to the trope of, well, it's not more close because it's literally is. Spoiler for Identity. God, I hate that I have to do that, but I want to be fair. If you haven't seen Identity, this one doesn't get talked about a whole hell of a lot. So let me bring this up. Um, I assume that everybody has seen the other ones, and I didn't really want to get into like long-winded synopsis and all this, but uh, Identity came out in 2003, and can you work, please? Anyway, I'm sorry yelling at my internet. Stranded at a desolate Nevada hotel during a nasty rainstorm, 10 strangers become acquainted with each other when they realize that they're being killed off one by one. The whole thing is set up to be like a slasher. Not necessarily a slasher, but like there's a killer out there and they're all being taken out. Well, guess what? There is a major twist. And at the end of the film, you find out that all of these 10 strangers are actually different personalities of a serial killer that is currently in prison. So, again, while that can be, I guess someone could say, well, that's one of those. It all happened in his head. It's all just a dream. I just don't, to me, identity was written so well. I had no clue. So to me, it didn't feel, and with how like the rest of the movie goes, with I don't necessarily want to go because it's been a while since I've seen the movie, so I don't feel like I should talk about. I know is that necessarily a twist where like the personality that was kind of orchestrating the entire thing, and then like he was on death row, and then I believe he gets taken off of death row and like transported. Anyway, the major twist that I was talking about was like it's all split personalities of this actual serial killer. To me, that wasn't lazy writing. We don't necessarily know how to wrap this up, so we'll just make this fake cool, maybe, and hopefully people dig the twist. It to me it was all very intentional and it was all set up very well. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Identity. I need to rewatch that movie as well. It has been years. Now let's talk about M. Night Shyamalan for a second. I brought up The Sixth Sense earlier because to me, when this conversation gets brought up, Saw The Sixth Sense, the others are mostly the main three that I always hear about when it comes to twists in horror films. But he's got a couple of others that, in my opinion, are talked about a lot. One being the reason, the twist being the reason why people hate this movie, The Village. And I don't hate The Village, but I remember watching The Village being like, "Oh, okay." Again, it's been years since I've seen The Village. I know my buddy Peyton and our horror queen Sydney recently rewatched The Village, and I know Sydney on a rewatch loved this movie way more than she initially did. So I'm gonna have to do the same thing because it has been years. But I remember the twist happening in The Village. Spoiler, that this community that you think is just in the desolate wilderness, just in a different time and all this, is actually just right next to normal civilization the entire time. Okay. Like, I don't hate it, but it wasn't anything that really, like, just beat me over the head like, "Oh my god, this fucking movie." A lot of people do not like this movie because of that twist. To me, I understand that. I wanna watch it from a 36, almost 37-year-old frame of mind. I think that possibly there's some, like, underlying themes and things that I would appreciate or pick up on a lot more or appreciate them more as a 36, almost 37-year-old. I don't know. But I think Shyamalan, fortunately for him, The Sixth Sense was a massive hit and, you know, things like that. But I feel like he did kinda get painted in this corner of, like, Shyamalan is the twist guy. That's that's who he is. Like, we go into a Shyamalan film to go, "Okay, here's what is being presented to us in the trailer, in the marketing, and in the entire film, but what's really going on here?" The Sixth Sense, to me, I think it's just hard to top. It's hard to, like, live up to a twist like that. I mean, it's always gonna get, your next twist or whatever is always gonna be compared. So I think it sucks that in a way he kinda got painted into this corner of, like, you always have to come up with these crazy fucking twists. And Village worked for some people, it didn't work for a lot of people. But let's be honest, I think he makes up if you do not like the twist in The Village or it just kinda, like, hit mediocre for you. I think he made up for that one in The Visit. I thought The Visit was fantastic. 'Cause again, I guess I should have seen, spoiler for The Visit, I guess I should have seen it coming that the grandparents' house that these kids were the grandparents that these kids were staying with the entire time were not actually the kids' grandparents. But I thought he set it up so well. And at the second watch, you kinda pick up on like, "Oh, well, the mom never really did see them. This, that, and the other." You can kinda pick up on that on a second, third watch, but my first watch of The Visit, I was like, "No fucking way. I love this little movie." So I thought The Visit deserved a mention on the podcast today. Movies like that, um, there's a few, I would say Don't Breathe, I think, deserves to be on this list. I think Don't Breathe has a great twist. It's not like I don't think it's like a ground shaking, because it doesn't, I don't think Don't Breathe gets really brought up on top 10 or like best horror movie twists of all time lists or whatever, but I think it deserves to be in the conversation because the marketing of this film was a reverse home invasion kind of thing where like these three young adults break into this blind veteran's house to steal some cash, and he says, "You broke into the wrong fucking house." Cool. I thought that's what the movie was going to be, which it is. But there's a twist. Spoiler for Don't Breathe. This is not a good dude. The twist is 2 out of the 3, because the one guy gets fucking blasted. 2 of the 3 robbers uh, are trying to escape this house because the veteran is fighting back. The blind man is, the blind. What's he credited as? The blind man? I don't fucking know. He's fighting back. He's already killed one of their friends, or not friends, one of their fucking uh, teammates or whatever. And they're down in the basement trying to find a way out. And they find out that this motherfucker has a woman chained up in his basement. And this was teased earlier in the film about how there was a car accident and somebody died, this, that, and the other. Well, that'll happen. This blind veteran, his daughter was killed. So he kidnaps the woman responsible, chains her up, and he's forcing her to have a child that he can now raise. Brother, when I tell you I did not see that fucking coming. Woo! No, I did not, which that is why it's so weird for me. In the sequel, he's made into this like anti-hero that we're supposed to root for. Fuck you. I'm good. You went that route for a sequel, you ruined it. The first one, great. I thought that twist of the whole, when they were down, when she was, yo. And one thing that's crazy is, again, I saw Don't Breathe having never seen a trailer. I recorded the trailer for a short form video the other day, and the chained woman is in the trailer. Obviously, no context, but like, she's in the trailer. And I'm like, you kind of just ruined it, man. Because I only ever really remember seeing marketing for the movie as like, this is like a reversal home invasion kind of film where like, you broke into the wrong house. So I didn't even clock that there was going to be a chained woman, a whole other subplot of like, oh, this guy's deranged and just mentally gone. I didn't see that coming from a mile away. I thought this dude was just gonna like protect his house and GG's. Nope. Another film, very similar home invasion type of film, where I think the marketing, I can't say that I've seen a trailer for this movie recently, so I don't know if anything was spoiled. But everything that I saw about Better Watch Out, this film was again set up to be a classic Night of babysitting gone wrong. The babysitter shows up. She's supposed to watch a kid that arguably is a little too old to be babysat, but she's moving this, that, and the other, whatever. And then some weird shit starts to happen in the house, and the whole thing is set up that there's just an intruder, a stalker, a killer, somebody outside the house. They're trying to break in, and it's gonna be babysitter protecting the kid, and they just have to try to survive the night. Well, guess what? That could not be more far from the fucking truth. I thought they set this movie up with the marketing so well, because spoiler for Better Watch Out, there is no intruder. It's the fucking kid. It's the kid and his friend, and the entire thing is set up so that the kid can protect the babysitter because he has a crush on her, but she's a little older than him, so he's trying to prove, I'm a protector. I've got you, baby. And I know some people don't like this movie because of like that whole thing. Like, he's like a younger boy. Where I love Better Watch Out. Because again, I didn't see that shit coming. I thought the setup of that movie was incredible. Another one that I do not think gets talked about in this conversation whatsoever. In my short form, I said that there were two twists that do not get the love that they deserve. I forgot about Chained. I didn't forget about Chained. I just forgot to include it in the video. That's on me. That's my bad. Mistakes happen. Forgive me. Chained is such a rough watch. This is a movie that if you need trigger warnings, I probably would just skip Chained because it's brutal. A lot of sexual assault. Yeah. But fantastic performance by Vincent D'Onofrio. He plays a cab driver that kidnaps a mother and her young son that just got out of watching a matinee. So they're leaving the theater. She calls a cab to get taken home. Well, he kidnaps them, takes them to his house where he, without consent, does some things to the mother and then eventually disposes of her because he's a crazy fucking serial killer disguised as a cab driver. And he brings people to his house. He kidnaps people through being a cab driver, brings them to the house, and does what he does and then kills them. That's how he gets off. That's how he spends his free fucking time. Lovely. But Justin, what happens to the son? Well, that's why it's called Chained. Because the kid is 9 years old. I think he's 9. He sees his mother get dragged into another room, blah, blah. But then what do you do with the kid? Well, the cab driver chains him up and keeps him in the house. He names him Rabbit. And we fast forward 9 years later, and he's 18. Rabbit has been chained up as a prisoner in this guy's house. And he's now, I think he's like 17, 18 years old. He's like a full-grown teen. And now the whole movie is like, is he just going to like continue to try to escape this house, or is he just kind of gonna fall in line with the cab driver, help him, and kind of go down that road? Chained, I wanted to kind of dive into Chained a little bit more because I don't think a lot of people have seen this, and it's a hidden gem. Hard to watch, but it's a gem. This is where I think this movie just goes to another level, and why I think this film should be talked about a hell of a lot more than it actually is. Twist. There's a twist. Spoiler for Chained. I did not see this shit coming. I did not see this coming the entire time. Rabbit is being shown like news reports and like newspaper clippings and things, and no one's looking for you, or they've stopped looking for you, and this, that, and the other. Rabbit eventually escapes. He gets out, right? And he goes home. He goes home. He knocks on the door, and he meets, I believe, it's been a while. I think his dad's new wife answers the door. Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, we find out that Rabbit's dad hired the cab driver to kill his wife and son. To this day, I'm like, what the fuck? This man, it was so shocked to see his son. And I remember it being kind of played out where he was like, oh my God, come in the house, this, that, it. But you eventually find out that he is so like, what the fuck do you mean you're here? I hired this motherfucker to kill you and you're alive? Dog. I understand that Chained is a very hard movie to watch. Obviously, if you hadn't seen it, you probably didn't just hear what I said about the spoiler. So, just know, if you skipped the spoiler part and you haven't seen Chained, and now you were listening to me again, first off, your skip game is crazy good, because I would be skipping right into the middle of the spoiler. What do you do? That's why I don't know how spoiler warnings work on a podcast like this. I tried. If you haven't seen Chained and that wasn't spoiled for you, go watch Chained. I believe it's still on Tubi. Obviously, trigger warnings for, some crazy, brutal, sadistic, diabolic things, but good movie. Here are two that are very, I don't want to say controversial, but are very highly discussed and very split. Malignant because people just hate the movie. And I think it just comes down to the twist, because when the twist happens, the tone, like there is so much. Calm down. Sorry. I got excited. I love Malignant. People do not. That's fine. I get it. This is when people tell me, SlasherTalk, Justin, what I just said, SlasherTalk. Fuck it. I'm an idiot. I mean, that's my name. No. You don't know how to have fun. Motherfucker, I love Malignant. I love Tusk. Do not look me in my eyes and tell me that I don't like some stupid shit, okay? Malignant, I think, it's just so good. It's so entertaining. It's so much fun. But Uh, again, I just must be stupid, but people said, "Oh, yeah, I saw that coming." I just I just I didn't, and I need to rewatch *Malignant*, as it was, like, during COVID when I watched it last, and I understand that this movie, it gets pretty out there. Uh, Spoiler, the marketing for this movie, again, was kinda set up as, like, there's this, like, intruder or whatever happening, I think. I don't remember. I remember watching woman was in the bed, shadow comes up, you think somebody has come into her house or whatever. The twist is, spoiler for *Malignant*, is that it's this face in the back of her head. It's this other personality that's literally a living, talking thing. And when she lets it out or whatever, and there's this big scene in a police station that is just absurd. It's, like, very action heavy and things, and I get why people don't like it. I just find it a lot of fun. Um, I thought the twist was great. Um, and a lot of people do not know this. I have made short form videos about this, so you may have heard me talk about this a couple times before, but *Malignant* actually changed the ending to Terrifier 2, because the original ending to Terrifier 2, I'm talking, like, the after credits thing in the hospital when Victoria so in Terrifier 2, Victoria is in her cell and she gives birth to Art the Clown's head, right? That's how Art the Clown is reborn to go into Terrifier 3. Cool. That was not the original ending to Terrifier 2. The original ending was the nurse comes to Victoria's cell, and Victoria is scratching the back of her head. You see where I'm going with this? The nurse goes in to check the back of her head, and you hear a crunch, and then the nurse comes up, looks, and notices that her fingers are not bitten off because, lo and behold, in the back of Victoria's head, Art the Clown's head is growing out the back of her head like a tumor. But Damien Leone, while working on Terrifier 2, I think they might have filmed it. I wanna say that they had already filmed it, and he sat down, watched *Malignant*, and said, "Well, fuck me. I can't do that." Even though he had already written, it was filmed and things, he was like, "This is just way it's literally the same fucking thing," and unfortunately, it just happens. There are several we see it in Hollywood all the fucking time. Or not even Hollywood, but, like, just, like, film, in general. You have, like, scripts that are very similar, and they get sold to different places. They both get made, but then they both kinda come out 6 months apart or a year apart or whatever. Whichever the first one that comes out, the second one always gets told, "Well, you ripped the first one off." He was like, "I don't want that feedback," right? So he goes and arguably, in my opinion, what they came up with Victoria giving birth to Art's head instead, I think is better. But 100%, if I would have seen "Oh, Art's and the back," I would have been like, "That's *Malignant.'" So he's not wrong. But I like that story. I think that's pretty cool. Another one that people do not a lot of people hate this movie. They think the twist ruins the movie. High Tension. You thought I was gonna go this entire podcast and not talk about High Tension? You're wrong. You're wrong. High Tension, French extremity horror film. You've got these two friends. these two women that are friends, and they're being hunted and chased by this fucking guy, this really creepy looking guy in this truck, and everything's brutal, this, that, and the other. Lo and behold, guess what? There's a twist. And this is where it loses a lot of people. Okay? Spoilers for High Tension. The killer is I forget her name, but the killer ends up being the short-haired woman from the cover. And she's holding that blade saw. It turns out it's her the entire time. So the guy that we see as the killer never existed. It was her the entire time. And a lot of people say, which I think is valid, right? I will not hate on anybody for not liking the twist here, because there are several scenes. The only one that I can't really explain is there's a scene that we see where the guy, the killer, the supposed killer, is in his truck, and he uses a decapitated head to, like, get himself off. And then he just kinda, like, throws it out the window. I can't explain that. I don't know, man. I don't know. But everything else, um, the very beginning of the film is set up to be like, "Oh, these, like, events happen to you." She's in a police station. She's beat to shit, all this, and they are recording her. So we get this brief thing of, like, then it goes into the film. We get this brief scene of, like, she starts to talk, and then everything happens. So in my opinion, and how I view this film, and a lot of people do see it this way, is what we are seeing is the story that she is telling the police officers. Therefore, everything that we see, it's an unreliable narrator. She isn't going to say, "Well, I did all these things." She's telling a lie. She's telling a story. And we get that from the very beginning of the movie. The camera goes on, they hit record, she starts to talk, and then it bleeds into here's what happened. Here's the story that she is telling. So she's trying to get away with it. But a lot of people are like, "Well, cool. Yeah, definitely didn't see that coming, but it makes no sense," because there's a scene where, like, the both of the girls are, like, in the back of the truck, and the killer's driving the truck and all this. But, like, she is explaining that's part of the story that she's saying. What actually happened is she was driving the truck, and she had the woman, her friend, chained up or whatever in the back of the truck, and they're driving. Like, that's what actually happened. But she can't say that. So she says, "Oh, cool. The both of us were in the back of the truck. The fucking, killer." Yes. I understand why it doesn't work for a lot of people. I truly do. It says a lot of people, they love the movie up until the twist. I get it. But if you haven't given the movie a second chance, go watch the movie a second time with the perspective of unreliable narrator. This is the story, a version that she is telling the police, and then watch it and see if you have any different reaction to the film. Last film I want to talk about. See, this didn't end up being a short podcast. I can feel it in my fucking bones. I did it again. I'm such a yapper. Or it's just passion. It's passion. It's passion, baby. Incident in a Ghost Land. I swear, I know people have seen this. I know, because every time I post about it, people are like, "Oh my fucking god, this movie." But contrast, I get a lot of people that say, "I've never heard of this. Where do I watch this?" What? Incident in a Ghostland, to me, just continues to be a hidden gem of a horror movie that flies under a lot of people's radar. I've talked about this several times on the channel. Uh, Incident in a Ghostland is a very brutal film, very tense film, and because of where this movie goes, the twist, it's to me, it's unforgettable. I think it's so good. If you've never seen it, I will give you a spoiler warning, but if you've never seen it, Incident in a Ghostland is about a mother and her 2 teenage daughters. They just inherited a house from their aunt who recently passed away. So they are driving to this house to move in to said house. That night, when they get to the house, the home is invaded by two people that are driving an ice cream truck. And one guy is huge, and then the other one I think is called the Woman, I believe, is how they're credited. But there's this home invasion, and when I say non-spoiler, this all happens within, like, the first 15 minutes of the movie. So, like, this is I get this all the time, "Well, you spoiled the whole thing." No, this is literally, like, the first 15 minutes of the movie. There's a whole movie after this, I swear to God. They get to the house, the home they get invaded by these 2 strangers. Brutalness happens. The mom's getting thrown around, this, that, and the other. The mom ends up killing the 2 invaders. They all survive. Cool. 10 years go by. 10 whatever years go by. And one of the girls is now a writer in the horror genre. She's getting ready to she's getting ready to release this book, Incident in a Ghostland, that it's about the events of that night. That's all I'm going to say for a non-spoiler section. Spoiler. Spoiler for Incident in a Ghostland. Cool. I believe I think Vera is the one that ends up being the writer. So she's on this, like, book tour or whatever, and she gets a call from her mom. She goes back home, and her sister is just not handling the trauma of what happened that night well. She's in the basement, and the mom's like, "Well, you left, you got out, all these things." And so she's Vera's talking with her sister and still doing all this, whatever. You find out that this entire life that Vera has, the writer, the mom's alive, she goes back to life, it's all fake. It's all a reality that she created to deal with what's actually happening. We are back in the beginning of this film. That's the reality. Those killers the mom never saved her 2 daughters. She's dead. And the girls have been held captive and been used as playthings, as dolls. That's why they are dressed as such. But in order to deal with the trauma, the day-to-day violence and trauma that they live through, Vera leaves. And she goes and she lives in this world that she has created in her head. And in bits and pieces of older Vera's timeline, you can see "Help me" um, written on mirrors, and there's certain lines of dialogue where it's like, "Hey, you went away, come back. You're always here because you are gone, they continue to play with me." All these things. She leaves her sister in this environment by herself. Like, she's physically there, but she's gone. Brother, I think it was incredible. I will never forget watching that for the first time, and I had to pause and go, "What? Excuse what?" And I had to, like, rewind, like, watch it again. What? I guess I can kinda see how it would be confusing, but not really, because I get a lot of people that say, "Oh, I watched it. I didn't understand this movie whatsoever." I'm like, "What? Okay." So maybe it does come off a little bit confusing, whatever, but that's the twist. And I thought it was so well done. Again, I guess it could be a little tropey in like, "Oh, it was all in her head," but the setup is great. And it doesn't end like that. There's more to it. Like, her going away in her head is more sad for her sister, and she has to find a way to snap out and realize that what she is currently seeing, this sad, just trauma-filled fucking house, is actually reality, and she needs to stay here and help her sister through this situation. They have to get the fuck out. I love this movie. Yes, one of the actresses, and I have to correct myself. I just looked it up. I'm so sorry. I always think of Vera because Vera was played by Taylor Hickson, and she's the one that uh, had the major cut on her face while filming this movie. Beth is the one that creates the reality in her head. Beth is the writer. So, correction, I'm not gonna re-record this whole fucking thing. Correction, I was wrong. I got it swapped up. Accidents happening. It is what it is. Vera, Taylor Hickson, they were filming a scene, and you can see it in the trailer. There's a scene where she has to like pound on this glass, and negligence 100% from the director and people that were on like there's a lot of things. There's a lot of negligence that happened. I don't necessarily think it's all on one person, but at the end of the day, the director is the person that captains the ship, right? And she was pounding on this glass, and the director was like, "I need you to pound harder." And she asked, "Is it safe? Am I safe to pound on this harder?" Yes, she was given the green light. So when she goes to pound on it harder, it breaks, and it wasn't fake movie glass. It was actual glass. And she cut her face open, wide open. Very, very bad situation. She ended up, suing as she should. But yeah, when you see Taylor Hickson in other things and you see that scar on her face, it is from filming incident in a Ghostland, which is very not a great situation. It should have never happened. I always like to bring that up when I talk about the film because it's important. But incident in Ghostland, if you've never seen it, go check it out. I believe it's still on Tubi. Anyway, for what needed to be what I thought was going to be a short podcast episode, I think it's going to be about the same and or longer. So, well, that'll happen. Sorry, I'm doing Peanut's vocal stems again. I gotta stop. Anyway, I do want to give a major shout out to somebody, Cue Ball. You know who you are. I believe you follow and comment on YouTube. Thank you so much for your donation through the Ko-fi. That was insane. It was very generous. Thank you so much for that. It means the world to me. You did not have to do that, but I appreciate you, and I promise to keep up the content. Thank you for following the page and for your support. That means the world to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's insane. I saw that notification come through last week, and I had already had the podcast episode for George all ready and scheduled and things. I wanted to be sure that I thanked you on this week. Do not think that shit went unnoticed, because it did not. I got that notification, and I was like, well, that has to be a mistake. So thank you. But yeah, guys, that's it for this week. I'm gonna be in Rhode Island. I almost didn't record this podcast because I was just like, I don't really feel like doing much today, but I had to. I want to keep being consistent with this, so I appreciate you guys checking it out. If there are any other horror movie twists that you guys believe should be on a best of horror movie twist list or whatever, please put them in the comments. I'm always up for a horror movie twist, so please give me your recs, or just say, hey, you missed this one. But as always, guys, if you have not yet given me a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcast, please do so. That would mean the world to me, and it just helps the podcast get out into the algorithm a little bit more, and it just introduces the Slasher Talk podcast to more people, and hopefully some more people will listen to the podcast. That's the goal. If you have not yet, follow me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I post pretty much every single day on all those platforms besides YouTube, which I need to get better at. Whatever. It is what it is. YouTube's hard. So, and I will talk to you guys again next week, but until then, watch something spooky this week.